It's review time. Today, let's take a look at Transformers Rise of the Beasts Studio Series Leader Class Scourge. And I'm gonna be honest, taking a look at the packaging, presentation's pretty nice.
However, this artwork depiction of Scourge had thousands of people wondering whether or not this was going to be Transformers, Optimus Prime in the Multiverse of Violence.
Give me your faith.
I especially like the artwork on the side of the box, just because the way he's looking at you in this picture, it just makes him look like he's ready to come off his rocker and kill somebody. Of course, on the back of the box, we got all of our good product imaging and stuff. We got Scourge in his robot mode, truck mode, 31 steps, his accessories, and the summary that is Scourge and the Terracons face off against the Autobots and a battle for the Transwarp key. So, there we got that. And then the backdrop he does include is the museum fight. I do actually think this is a really nice display. Looks really neat and does reflect the actual battle quite nicely. Also, I cannot for the life of me figure out what Hasbro is doing with their instructions. They've switched, for this figure, they have blue instructions, but for Battletrap, who is also a Terracon, they had red instructions. I don't get it. I'm beyond trying to figure it out at this point. It makes no sense, and I don't think I'll ever get it. Anyway, all the little stuff out of the way, here we have Scourge himself, and honestly, I really do like the truck mode. I will say, however, out of the two modes, it is the most flawed, just because of raging gaps and stuff. I do love the Mad Max aesthetic of the truck mode. It's subtle, but it creates for such an intimidating posture. Kind of what Megatron tried to do, except he just went overboard with it. Another cool thing about the truck mode is that all the wheels are pinned on, so this guy glides with no real issues whatsoever. Super rare to see pinned on wheels anymore, but this guy certainly has them. I especially love how the top of the cab looks. I love the visors above the windshield and the red translucent plastic that they used for the windshields. Looks really nice, but it does lead into a con that I have with this figure. I'll get into that a little bit later. I do like the detail of all the insignias from his fallen foe being put on the front of the truck mode. Really nice detail. Overall, the truck just has a very intimidating stature about it, and it looks really, really just evil. The back of the truck mode is what draws most of my concern of the vehicle mode. For starters, the bed of the truck is hollow as can be. The robot mode arms are just hanging out like nobody else's business. And you can see exactly what it would be like to sit in the cab of Scourge's truck mode due to the fact the cab is completely hollow. You can see straight through it. Hey, this looks exactly like that one shot from the movie before Optimus and Scourge went tumbling down the mountainside in Peru. And I gotta say, I feel like there is at least some form of remedy for this gap on the front of the truck mode. Just a panel or something that could have folded out to cover that would have been great. I gotta admit, he does look really well with the rest of the Terracons that we have so far, and I think he scales really nicely. However, his truck mode in particular definitely doesn't match the more normalized vehicles in the group, but it kind of makes him stand out as the head honcho of the group, which works. And yes, I still have to review the little gremlin over here. I'm not really a completionist, but having all the Terracons is just really satisfying. The transformation is surprisingly fun to go through and has got some really cool tricks, but this is my major concern. The whole backpack here is clear plastic and it's on very important hinges, so please be careful of that. And the robot mode is so good, but it leaves so much to be desired, at least in my opinion. This is yet again another example of a Transformers figure that was based off of concept art rather than the final rendering. Again, while mostly accurate, I feel like they captured the overall essence of the character. I just feel like certain design cues were missed in the process. My other biggest critique about the figure in robot mode is definitely this backpack, but I mean, truth be told, I don't really know how they would remedy that. Everything else about the figure, though, I absolutely love, because overall it's just such a intimidating looking figure, a unique stature, and definitely demands shelf presence. I do like the detail of the grille of the truck mode becoming the chest in robot mode. That was a very, very nice ingenuity trick. The figure itself is actually layered in mechanical detail that I think actually has come out really clean. All the paintwork, again, very premium, very well applied, and it looks really nice. The blade's got a lot of cool detail on it as well, and it's got a cool little feature where you can open up his hand and then slide this into place and close his hand up over that and have him holding it like a sword. That is really neat. The head sculpt, however, is probably the weakest part of this figure just due to the inaccuracies and being based off of concept art. Again, it is pretty close to what we see to the movie and does look good, but it's just not 100% there. However, it does have light piping, and the light piping actually works quite well. I think that does look really, really neat and adds a bit of flair to the figure in robot mode. You can also recreate that end scene in the movie where he gets his arm ripped off. I mean, you can actually exchange his arm for the battle blaster, which, oh gosh, I'm hitting things, which is right here. You just swap the arms off, rip off the other arm, and put the blaster on this one, and it don't look bad. It allows for some more dynamic poses and whatnot. Now you might be thinking, well, what do I do with the other claw arm? Do I just throw it off into a little storage bag? No. There is a solution for this. Come around to the back of the figure here. This little tab right here will simply peg on to his backpack like that. Yeah. It's an option. If you need to store the hand somewhere, you can store it somewhere. Oh, and for those of you who thought the blaster maybe had more integrated storage, you'd be wrong. If anything else, it's probably a little bit worse. I will say posing this figure is an absolute blast because of the articulation that he has to offer. So starting off here at the neck, you have two different joints, one in the base of the head and one at the base of the neck. So you can kind of have him looking down, you can have him looking up, he can look left, right, you can tilt his head side to side. He's just got a lot of different movement here in the head, which creates for some very versatile different looks. Arms, you have several different joints. You have outward movement here at the base of the shoulder, which is mainly for transformation, but you know, it's still there. You get forward rotation. It's kind of hindered by the backpack, so I mean, you get all the movement you need out of that. Shoulder pad can move just a little bit. You do have a separate outward movement joint here for the arm as well. You do have a bicep rotation, which on my copy is very stiff. You do have elbow bend on this arm. It's about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit less, and then the fingers here are all one piece but can still open and close, so you know, you can kind of get him holding his sword or doing whatever. So you know, that's really cool. Other arm, same posability up to the elbow joint. It is about 90 degrees here at the elbow. The claw itself is a little bit lacking, so all the claws individually move at the base. However, I feel like they should have had at least the three joints that are detailed on the figure. I think it would have made posing this guy just that little bit more fun. Lower torso is really nice. You get a waist rotation. It is possible on Studio Series figures, so Hasbro, you better start putting them on. You do have forward hip movement, forward and back. You do have outward hip movement to a great degree, thigh rotation, well over 90 degree knee bend, and then for the feet, you get ankle rockers, forward and backwards movement here in the ankle joint as well. So this guy is extremely posable. Like this little stance right here, not every figure can do it and look as cool as he does. I do think it's unfortunate that the figure has the inaccuracies that it does because it looks absolutely fantastic. And if Hasbro could have waited just a little while longer and gotten those pieces right and made them as accurate as physically possible, this guy would be so spot on. Like I said, the figure's extremely posable and well detailed. Like, how many figures can pull this kind of stance off without, he just broke his finger, boy. That boy is broken. But like I said, how many figures can you think of that can pull off a stance like this with no support? So that's been my review of Transformers Leader Class Scourge and Leader of the Terrorcons. And overall, I personally think he is a fantastic figure. I personally enjoy him. However, he is not going to be for everybody. If you are a movie accuracy stickler, then there is a Yellow Park non-transformable model kit coming out of Scourge, which looks absolutely phenomenal. And I still might pick that up. I'm not really sure yet because I have this. But for those of us who want a transformable version of Scourge, this is all that we've really got on the market. So, he is good. He does have a few inaccuracies. I pointed out my critiques earlier in the review, some of my more main concerns, but if you are interested in a transformable figure of Scourge and can get past the inaccuracies, then this guy's really cool and a really awesome figure to pick up. But guys, that's all for my video. I hope you enjoyed. If so, be sure to leave a like, comment what you think of Scourge down in the comments section below, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video from my channel. That's all for me, Champion Productions, signing off.